Yes? Come on in!
I need your help. Please help me.
Please, take a seat. Yes?
I need your help. Please help me.
Watch your tongue, woman! You know who you're talking to. We have the famed Jaws of the Lion. We are not a charity.
But I can pay. I have money. I can pay.
How did you manage to scrape together this much money?
My husband, the blacksmith. I want him back. Bring him back to me.
Tell me, woman, what happened to your husband?
He went out to work and he never came back. Please, find my husband.
We have the Jaws of the Lion here. Mercenaries for hire. Well, I have to set out immediately. Rest assured, woman, I am Hatchet of the Jaws of the Lion. I will find your husband.
Welcome to my channel. Today we are taking a look at a special game. We are talking about a game that doesn't need an introduction. We are talking about GLOOMHAVEN Jaws of the Lion. That game right there. This is a fully cooperative adventure campaign game set in the universe of GLOOMHAVEN. You can play this game with up to 4 players. You can play the game also solitaire, just on your own. In this game, we are a group of mercenaries based in the city of GLOOMHAVEN. We are the famed Jaws of the Lion. And people come to us with all manner of requests. We gladly do their bidding as long as they pay us a hefty sum of money. Because remember, in this game, we are mercenaries. This is GLOOMHAVEN Jaws of the Lion. Setting up a game for GLOOMHAVEN Jaws of the Lion is very simple. You just need these 2 books here. The scenario book right there and this other book. You see, you place the 2 books next to each other so that the artwork lines up, and right there you've got the scenario map. This game is played through a number of scenarios because GLOOMHAVEN Jaws of the Lion is a campaign game and players have to play through the entire campaign of scenarios until they reach the final scenario and beat the boss in the final scenario, and only then can they say that they have finished the game. This is going to take a while. My first campaign took me almost 2 months, okay? What we're looking at right now is the setup for 2 players, for 2 characters, for scenario number 9. Let's take a closer look right there at the scenario map. You see, the map for the scenario is essentially just a grid of hexes or hexagons, okay? And you see, once you've got the map laid out there, you just need to put out all the pieces, all the components to complete the setup for the game. Like the standees for the monsters, you set up a number of monsters according to the number of players or characters. Here we set up the game for just 2 characters or 2 players, so we don't get to set up all the monsters on the scenario map. Then we've got these pieces here. These are trap tiles. You place them right there to cover those icons on the hexes, and how these trap tiles work that's pretty intuitive. If you step on them, then these traps are sprung and you suffer a certain amount of damage. Then we have these hexes here with the blue borders. These hexes are doors. They connect different rooms, okay? That piece right there is a treasure. This is a treasure tile that goes on that spot. If you end your movement on that hexagon and you pick up the treasure, then you're going to get a certain type of reward. It's almost always gold. There are also hexes, like the 3 hexes that you see there with the green borders. Those are obstacles. You cannot enter those hexes, okay? Then the 2 character figures right there, you see, they start the scenario from the entrance hexes. You place the figure for your character on one of those hexes, and from there you start the game. Then you see right there at the top of the page, you can see the number for the scenario. This is scenario number 9, and the title. This scenario is called Explosive Evolution, and then right under the title there's the goal for the scenario. And the goal for this scenario says, kill the Blood Horror. The Blood Horror is the boss for this scenario, that monster right there. The reason why I chose to show you this particular scenario out of all the scenarios in the campaign for this game is because this monster looks just like the coronavirus to me. Take a close look at this monster here. You see? I played this scenario while I was sick from COVID, and when I got to defeat this monster, I felt like I had killed the coronavirus myself. And that brought me so much joy, you have no idea. From that moment on, this game became the COVID game to me. And I don't know why, for some silly reason, I don't know, this just made me feel better during my sickness, especially during those hard days of lockdown. Let's talk now about the characters that we find in Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. These 2 here are the characters I like the most in the game. This is Hatchet. He's an axeman. He's really good at range attacks. And over there we have a demolitionist, which is pretty good at melee attacks. Just like its name suggests, this character demolishes everything that it finds. They are really cool and they are a great team together. The game comes with other 2 characters you can play with. This is the Red Guard. This is also a very good character, pretty strong. And then we have the Void Warden. This character here is actually kind of weak. She's a sorceress and she's only good at healing damage. So you shouldn't really choose this character here when you play the game solitaire. When you play the game solo, you have to choose 2 characters and you play with them, okay? When you play the game with other players instead, then each player controls only 1 character. Each character comes with a character sheet, and on this character sheet, you keep track of all the information related to your character, such as the level, the experience, the gold, and the equipment. Whenever you make a change to your character, you will have to update the information here on this character sheet. That is very important. Now let's take a closer look here at the equipment for Hatchet. Those are the items that I have equipped to this character. We've got an armor there, then we have these winged shoes, a healing potion, and a throwing hammer. These items can be purchased from the shop. The shop is essentially just a pile of item cards. Here you can find more potions and another armor, helmets, shields, weapons, all kinds of weapons. You can purchase these items here by spending the gold that you acquire during the game, and then you can equip these items to your character and you can use them during the game. Those 2 things right there, you see blue and red, they are the dials. You use this device here, these dials, to keep track of your hit points and your experience points, okay? Whenever you gain or lose points, you move these dials up or down accordingly. And if your character ever reaches 0 hit points, your character is dead. So you gotta be extremely careful here, and you gotta pay attention here to your hit points. You don't want your character to go down to 0. Your experience instead can only go up. You only acquire new experience. You don't lose experience during the scenario. Okay, so these are the dials for your hit points and your experience points. Now let's talk about these 2 decks of cards. We've got blue cards here for Hatchet and brown cards over there for the Demolitionist. These 2 decks of cards are really the heart of the game. Every time you start a new scenario, you have to select the cards that you want to bring into that scenario. Every character has got a pool of available ability cards or action cards that they can select, and there's a bunch of them, and you have to select only a set number of cards that you want to bring into that scenario. I like to sleeve the cards that I want to use, and the other cards instead you just set them aside because you're not going to use them. Okay, so here for example, this is the deck of action cards that I have selected for scenario number 9. Every round of the game you choose 2 cards from this deck, and then you play those 2 cards. On your turn, you can perform only 2 actions, and those 2 actions can be the top action from one of these 2 cards and the bottom action from the other card. So you can perform the top action of this card and the bottom action of this card, or the other way around, you can do top and bottom, okay? If you don't want to play a card, and you don't want to use an action on one of the cards, you can simply discard it, okay? For example, you can say, no, I don't want to use the top action of this card, I just discard it, but I use the bottom action of this card here, okay? That's how it works. Then, if we focus on these cards here, you see, the top actions almost always allow you to attack an enemy. Like this card here, this top action allows you to attack an enemy at range 3 for 3 damage. Bottom actions instead allow you to move. Here you can move 3 hexes, for example, then you can push an enemy 2 hexes away. Whenever you make an attack, you're gonna use the small deck of attack modifier cards right there. This game doesn't make use of dice. This game includes a diceless combat system. You use those cards in the attack modifier cards to see how the attack goes, okay? You have to flip over a card here from this small deck every time you make an attack on an enemy. And some of these cards may be positive, like this card here will give you a +1 on your attack value. Other cards instead may have negative values, like that -2. Which will reduce the attack value for the attack. There's also a very nasty card, this one here, that will cancel the attack completely, that will negate the attack. So when you draw that card, I can assure you that really hurts, and you really want to curse to the winds, because that card just negates your attack. To improve that deck, there are ways to do that. If you fulfill the conditions that you find on these small cards here, you get to unlock better cards that you can throw into that deck, and you can replace these negative cards here. You can remove them from the deck, like this -2 card, and you can have more positive cards in the deck, so your attacks will be more powerful more often, okay? Now, if we take a look at this card here, you see there's a number printed right there in the center, the number 24, and there's a 60 printed on the other card. That is the initiative number. Of the 2 cards that you decide to use for the round, one is going to be your initiative card. Let's say that we want to use this card here, we choose this card for the initiative, all right? And so that is our initiative number, 24. Keep in mind that lower initiative numbers always go first. This is really important because, you see, monsters, they work just like the characters. They've got their small deck of action cards, and there's a number printed right there. That is the initiative number for the monster, for the zealots. There are these monsters here. Okay, every round you flip over here a card for these monsters here, and you see we got different numbers right there. Initiative numbers that can range from 19 all the way up to 77. So it's highly unpredictable what the monsters are going to do and when they will act in the round. If you want to go before the monsters, you have to select an initiative number that is lower than the number you see right here. Boss monsters work. They work just like the other monsters, just like characters. You see, they've got their small deck of cards right there, and you flip over a card here every round of the game. And right there, you got the initiative number for the boss monster. All right. Okay. So now, when your turn is done, once you have performed your 2 actions and you have played your 2 cards, these 2 cards are then discarded. Next round, you will choose other 2 cards from your deck and you will play those 2 cards. Then, at a certain point, you will have played all the cards in your deck, and all the cards in your deck will be in the discard pile. When that happens, you have to shuffle your discard pile, okay? And 1 card is chosen at random, and that card will be lost forever. That card is removed from the game. Now, there are some cards that have this symbol here. You see that symbol, the X, right there. Then, when you decide to use the action on this card, if you decide to do that, this action is generally very powerful. The actions with these icons are generally very powerful. If you decide to use that action, the card is then removed from the game. You lose it. When you lose all the cards that you got in your deck, your character is exhausted. Your character is knocked out of the game because you don't have any cards that you can play. So your character is out of the game. So you have to be very careful here on how you use your cards, because you have to be able to complete the scenario before you lose all of your cards. This deck here really sets a ticking clock on the scenario. You gotta be able to complete the scenario and achieve the goal for the scenario before you run out of time, before you run out of cards. All right? And it all comes down to using these cards here in the best way. And that's just really such an addictive system. Once you've got the hang of it, it's just so addictive, and it's just a lot of fun rifling through these cards here and figuring out the best combinations. It's really a lot of fun. And the last thing I like to cover in my overview for this game is the elemental board that we got right here. You see, we've got 6 elements on this board, and those 6 elements can be generated on the battlefield during the game by playing cards like this one here. When you perform an action with a symbol right there, then you activate the corresponding element on this board. Then you'll be able to use this element on a later turn with an action like this one. By spending the wind, you can increase, for example, the attack power of your attack, and you can increase the range, and you can also gain some experience. This is the symbol for the experience points. So by spending this wind here that you generated before, now you can make a more powerful attack, and you can also gain experience. So this is another aspect of this game. You can try and take advantage of these elements to make more powerful attacks on the monsters and deal out more damage.
This game here is Gloomhaven's little brother. You see, this game looks far less intimidating than the original Gloomhaven, don't you think? This is Jaws of the Lion. It's the abridged version of the original Gloomhaven. It's a smaller game with a shorter campaign that was made for casual players. You see, they streamlined pretty much everything for this game here. They made a smaller game box that doesn't take up too much space on the shelf. They made gameplay a lot more accessible. If you want to play Jaws of the Lion, all you gotta do is just open up the scenario book. You open up the scenario book and you're pretty much good to go. You can play the game, and then when you're done, you close up the scenario book. You put the book and the rest of the components back into the game box, and you save the game for the next time. It's as simple as that. Jaws of the Lion brings the universe of Gloomhaven to the table in a much faster and easier way. Setup and tear down is no longer an issue in this game because you have the scenario book. In Gloomhaven, instead, setup and tear down time is really a pain in the neck, and that really puts me off as a player. Also, the campaign in Jaws of the Lion is a lot shorter, just 25 scenarios. And to be honest, it's even shorter than that, because some scenarios can be skipped entirely if you don't want to play them. So just 25 scenarios. In Gloomhaven, the campaign takes almost 100 scenarios. Just think of that. Think of the endeavor, the commitment that it will take to complete that kind of campaign. 100 scenarios. That sounds like it sounds like a staggering number to me, and it is a staggering number. So Jaws of the Lion is a great game. I like this game a lot. Also, the fact that the campaign is shorter, that means that you can play the game again. And I'm currently playing my third campaign of Jaws of the Lion. And every time I play the game, every time I get back into the game for another campaign, I discover something new. And I get a little bit better at playing this game here. Now, my first campaign was pretty slow going. And that was because often I had to put the game on hold and then pull a Board Game Geek to look for extra information, because I just didn't really know what I was doing. I had so many doubts, and the rulebooks for this game are really well written, but they're not comprehensive enough. I think they're lacking some examples, and I had so many doubts, and I just wasn't able to solve all of them. So my first campaign was really slow going, and I didn't really like it that much for that reason. Then my second campaign instead went a lot more smoothly, and now I'm playing through my third campaign, and this third campaign is really a blast. I'm really having the time of my life with this game here. I'm enjoying my time a great deal. Now, in this third campaign, I'm playing with the two characters that I like the most from the game. These two characters here. Here we've got Hatchet. This is Hatchet. I don't know if you can see it. This character here comes with a tiny weapon. It's an axe, and you throw that axe at the enemy, at the monster. Then you can pick it up and you can throw it again for for more damage, and that's a lot of fun. That is literally how you crack skulls in the scenario. With this character here, you hatchet your way through a scenario, and that's really a lot of fun. This is very cool character, Hatchet. And the other character, the second character that I really liked is this tiny little character here. This is the Demolitionist. You see, it's just a very tiny figure. At the beginning, I thought this character here wasn't really a lot of fun. But then this character levels up to level 5. And when you reach level 5, this character here becomes a huge mech. It puts on a heavy steampunk Gundam suit, and it becomes the real Demolitionist that just demolishes everything in its path. And that was amazing. That is amazing. This character here is really, really amazing. So I'm playing through this game a third time. I'm playing now my third campaign for this game, and this should just give you an idea of just how much I like this game. Having said that, I don't care to play 90 plus scenarios of this game here. This is why I don't want to jump into the original Gloomhaven and play 90 plus scenarios of this kind of game here. Because, to be honest with you, even the short campaign in this game feels a tad repetitive. Okay, scenarios are pretty much the same. They're kind of samey, and you're almost always doing the same things in every scenario, and that is kill all the enemies you find right there on the map. And it's fine if you do that, if you keep doing that in a 25 scenario long campaign. But when you're dealing with a campaign that is a lot longer, that takes almost 100 scenarios, that really sounds like a bore, like a very repetitive campaign, doing the same things for 100 scenarios. I mean, I know that I wouldn't be able to stand it. This is why I don't want to play the original Gloomhaven, and this is also why I don't care to play Frosthaven, the sequel to Gloomhaven. Just because that game is another very long game with a very long campaign, and I know that I wouldn't be able to finish that campaign, and I wouldn't enjoy it that much. Okay? Now, there's also the digital version, the video game for Gloomhaven and Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. So if you're more into video games and you want to try out this game here, you want to play the video game, then check out the digital version that they made of this game here. I watched a few gameplay videos on YouTube. I think they did a pretty good job with the digital adaptation of this game. But you know, I like board games better than I do video games, so I'm gonna stick here to this game here, to the board game. Okay, but I just wanted to point it out for the sake of this review. So in conclusion, Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion is really a great game. I think that if you're getting into campaign games for the first time and you want to play a good game, then you can't go wrong with Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. I think this should be everybody's first campaign board game. I'm gonna give this game a great grade. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. Almost perfection here, almost perfection. This is my review for Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. Thank you for watching, everybody, and see you in my next review. Bye.